And the start of the 2012-2013 university school year is just around the corner. For many students, the cost is substantially too high to pay out of pocket. With us this morning is Jael Garcia from UTPA to fill us in on financial assistance and new statistics. Good morning, Ms. Garcia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So there's so many different forms of financial assistance, correct? There's the loan, and then there's also the grant. Tell us about the two.
Yes, basically financial aid is composed of different types of aid. The most common ones would be the grants and the student loans. And the basic difference between them is that, first of all, for a grant, well, it's money that doesn't have to be repaid back, but it is typically based on need. So when the students fill out the application for financial aid, usually they have to demonstrate need in order to qualify for a grant. And grants usually come from various sources, whether it be federal, state, or some institutional grants. When it comes to the student loans, there are some that can be need-based and there are some that are not necessarily need-based. So it still requires filling out that FAFSA application, which is the free application for federal student aid. Of course, the loans, there's the different types. You know, some can be need-based, some are not necessarily need-based. And then, of course, the loans, they do have to be repaid back, and usually with interest.
And we actually had a few of those up on our screen just a little bit ago. I know that there's different kinds. Can you tell our viewers about some of those different loans? Because I think that sometimes kids that are applying, and you have to fill out the FAFSA in order to get any one of these, correct? So what's the difference between the different kinds of loans? Because that's where you can get yourself in trouble sometimes.
Yes, that is correct. There's the majority of the loans, the most commonly known ones are usually from the federal government, and these are called the Stafford loans. These, when it comes to loans, you know, those are usually the ones that students are encouraged to use first. There's also some loans that, there are some state loans, like here in the state of Texas, we do have a couple of loans that are available. And also there's private loans, which these actually come from private lending institutions. Typically the difference is that the private loans, they are credit based, and also the important thing is that, for example, these private loans, they're not necessarily regulated by the federal government.
So we've been seeing a lot about this in the news lately. We've actually on the show been talking about, you know, the bill that they've been discussing, and basically they're talking about bumping up that interest rate in the near future. Right now they've actually decided, no, we're going to go ahead and hold off, at least for the next little bit. What would it do to some students if Congress decided to bump up that rate?
Well, definitely the current rate, it's 3.4%, and fortunately it will stay that way for the next year. If it hadn't passed the bill in order to keep it, to extend it for one more year, then effective this past July, all loans, the subsidized loans, which is actually the need-based loan, is the one that students have to demonstrate need, would have gone up to 6.8%, which is twice the amount. So then obviously that means that when the student is going to repayment, it's twice the interest, and of course with loans the interest is very important because of course it's going to add up over the course of repayment.
You're going to stick around. We're going to talk more about financial aid for students that are going off to school, and we are also going to be discussing that FAFSA because it's so important to know how to fill that out properly to get as much as you can, especially if you really need it in these hard economic times. Thank you so much, Ms. Garcia.